Sam Kerr, the Matilda's captain, has caused quite the stir today. Unless you've been living under a rock, you would have seen that she's been charged with this very strange charge of alleged racial harassment. Now, I've never heard of that here. I don't know if that's a thing. But in the UK, where the PC brigade is crazy, they've charged her and she's going to have to face court. It's a big thing, potentially very bad for her career because sponsors don't like all of this bad publicity. The story is she was in a cab in the UK. She had just been on a night out. She was sick in the cab, I'm assuming from drinking. She then got into an altercation with the cab driver. They don't really specify over what, but I would imagine it would be like a cleanup fee. That somehow escalated and the police were called. Sam Kerr then seemed to unleash, allegedly, on the police. She called him a stupid white bastard. Ugh. Probably shouldn't be going around yelling that to police, but hey, she's the captain of the Matildas. She can do anything, or at least she thinks so. So that police officer wasn't happy about that, took it further, and now she's been charged and she's going to have to face court next year. Her lawyers are going to try and get it dismissed a lot earlier than that. So we'll see how that goes. But the real story for me is how the media and how people in Australia particularly have reacted to this. You know, you have the two camps. You've got the leftists who just lord over her, who are obsessed with her and say that they love her even more after this incident, which doesn't make any sense to me, but we'll get into that. And then you've got the other camp who says, well, she's a complete hypocrite. Because if the tables were reversed, if it was someone who called her a, for instance, stupid black bastard, oh my gosh, all hell would break loose. So a lot of people are quite rightly saying, why is it when it's against a white person that all of a sudden racism doesn't exist, but if it's against a black person, we've got things like BLM and the entire world erupts. So there's this very interesting social conversation coming out from this, which I found absolutely fascinating. But the first thing I want to talk about is this stupid law. Oh my gosh, the UK. The laws there are off their head. Can you believe that someone could potentially go to jail over this? That is a legitimate possibility for Sam Kerr. Not that it's going to happen to her, but probably if it were anyone else, it would be a lot more serious. This should not even be a story. This should not be a charge. The police shouldn't have even gotten involved or escalated it to an actual charge. This is insane to me. There was absolutely no violence. There was no threat of violence. All that happened was a few words were exchanged and someone took offense to it. And that, for some reason in the UK, allows a police charge to be laid. Wild, absolutely wild. And I cannot believe that this is where our world is at the moment. It's an absolutely pathetic indictment on both the UK legal system and also that police officer. I mean, wow, police officers are supposed to be strong, functional, upstanding citizens, not these weak snowflakes who, it's like dibber-dobbing when you're in primary school. Just offended by the smallest remark. Maybe it's that old adage that police officers get off on having power and he just really didn't like her and so he used the full force of the law that he could to create this ridiculous situation. But if he was truly offended, and if he's doing this beyond anything other than a joke, the guy is pathetic. And let me tell you, I would say this if it was about black people, white people, Asians, whatever. This law is insane, just generally. And that leads me to my next point, that the response here in Australia from the media and also her fans and just the general public has been so interesting. I've seen a lot of youth websites cover this and the response has just been overwhelmingly in support of Sam Kerr. And a lot of them are saying white fragility, this is hilarious, I can't believe he's so offended by this. And you know what, I agree, but they're saying it through the lens of this white person is not allowed to be offended by racist remarks, which I find absolutely ridiculous. The double standard that has come through all of the commentary I've seen today is mind-blowing. As I said, if it was Sam Kerr who had been called a black bastard, or if the police officer had been black and the white passenger was hurling racial abuse at the black police officer, once again, all hell would break loose. We've actually seen it. We don't even need to assume, because we've seen it play out time and time again. Whenever it's a black person being racially abused by a white person, cancelled straight away. But when it's the other way around, fine. Everyone needs to get over it. It's not racism. This concept of it being impossible to be racist against white people is stunning, because it's just false. Racism by definition is when you're being prejudiced because of your race. Now, Sam Kerr was abusing this police officer because of his race. By saying white bastard, you are automatically bringing race into it. Even if she didn't want to, she did it by saying that. So the minute you bring race into the equation, you are being racist. All of this crap about reverse racism and only people of color can have racism against them. No, sorry. You can be racist against every single person on this planet, no matter what color they are. The hilarious thing is Sam Kerr isn't even black. And this is what they do, right? They are a quarter something and they pull the race card. It's hilarious to me. So she's actually, okay, let me get this right. Her dad is half Indian, half English. So that makes her a quarter Indian. And then her mum is half Scottish, half Filipino. So that makes her a quarter Filipino. And then, so she's half Anglo, quarter Filipino, quarter Indian. I think her race is irrelevant because she has not been set back in life because of her race. She is at the top of her game. She's earning amazing dollars, and I'm not taking that away from her. She's obviously amazing at what she does. But the point is, she has not been held back because of her race. And that's what racism is. So I think to say that Sam Kerr has experienced racism is a bit of a stretch. And that's what all of her fans are saying. They're kind of saying, look, it's okay for her to do this and she should be given a free pass because she's a person of color. So she kind of deserves it. Like, the white person has had so many years of privilege, so therefore they should cop this one on the chin. No, sorry, it doesn't work like that. If you're being an asshole, it doesn't matter what color you are, you're still an asshole. If this were Joe Blogs from suburban Sydney, no one would be getting behind them. No one would say, you're a legend, what a hero, Australian hero. God, no. They'd be called racist and they would have the book thrown at them. But because it's Sam Kerr, because she's queer, dark-skinned, she's a woman, a lot of people think that she has a license to go out and do whatever she wants, vomit in whoever's car, yell abuse at police officers, disrespect everyone. And it's just not true. And the fact that we're celebrating this, I mean, put aside the alleged racism, firstly, she threw up in a taxi, which, look, it's probably happened to all of us at some point, but the way that she dealt with it, allegedly, from what it seems like, leaves a lot to be desired. If a taxi driver has to get to the point of calling the police, that's pretty intense. This could have so easily been extinguished very quickly, but the fact that it escalated to that point and she's the common thread, you know, you've got to wonder. And we see this with sports people all the time. I mean, I'm not going to say that because she's a young female, she should act all prim and proper and be amazing out in public. No, sports people are sports people. They get on the piss, they act out. The men do it all the time. So I'm not going to say that she is not allowed to do that. But it is a little bit of a blight on her character that it's come to this. Check out some of these comments on articles about this story today. Tell me you have white fragility without telling me you have white. Tell me you have white male fragility without telling me you have white male fragility. Oh my God, spare me. Yes, the cop was a bit of a snowflake, but to say it's white male fragility just shows that you know that this commentator, this person who left this comment, if that was a black cop, she would not have said that. She's only saying that because he's white and he's a man, and she doesn't like that combination. So whatever he would have done would have been bad in her books. White men cannot win with these types of people. And then you've got this one. Racism is systemic oppression. White people aren't systematically oppressed, coming from a white person. Now, what she said wasn't nice, lol, and you can still discriminate against someone for being white, but there are no serious implications here. True, there are no serious implications here, but the fact that she says, oh my God, this systematic oppression narrative arc that they're going with, which absolves everyone who isn't white of any crime throughout history and into the future because white people were oppressors. Oh, spare me. We've heard this so many times. We heard it all throughout the Voice debate. White people from now on, according to these types of commentators, can never do anything right. Our forefathers screwed up our opportunity to do anything right for the rest of time because white people did what everyone else did back in the day, and that's killed some people to take their land. Now, every single white person has been tarred with the same brush. We're all evil. We all deserve pain and suffering because the white person is the oppressor. Oh, give me a break. This attitude is well and truly so boring. As I keep saying, get over it. And then we've got this one. Why is no one questioning what he would have done for her to say that? Okay, so now we've got the victim blamers coming out. Imagine if this were another situation and it was like a woman who was being racially abused by a man, as if they would ever say, what did she say to deserve that? This is victim blaming at its finest, and it's something that these feminist leftist types are campaigning against, but only if you fall into the right category. They'll only be your champion if you're queer, person of color, tick one of those boxes. But if you're a victim and you're a man and you're white, oh, you're on your own. And it's also been super interesting to see how people of prominence have reacted to this. So the Prime Minister even came out today and put his 2 cents in. He was just saying how amazing Sam Kerr is, how delightful she was when he met her, singing her praises of her character. Meanwhile, the girl's throwing up in the back of a taxi and racially abusing some cop in the UK. Like, come on, PM. I think he's trying to neutralize it, kind of trying to be like, look, she's a good girl, because he could never, ever criticize her. A white man in a position of power criticizing a person of color, queer woman? Pff, no way. His PR was all over that. But it's fascinating, right? Because it's like, well, where do you draw the line? What's the worst thing that she could have done and still been celebrated for it? I truly think she literally could do anything. She could murder someone and people would still have her back. And you know what that is? That is female privilege, person of color privilege, queer privilege. She's got them all. So she can never be cancelled in the eyes of these lefties. People talk about white privilege. There is no white privilege anymore. White privilege is gone. Now with white people, it's like guilty until proven innocent. Yet with anyone who ticks any of those boxes, they can do anything they want. And they'll still throw them a ticker tape parade when they come back to Australia. It's a joke. The double standards, the hypocrisy that has overcome the zeitgeist at the moment is, you can only laugh because it makes no sense. The lack of logic that these leftists have that are currently shaping the agenda is just making us all a lot stupider, because there's no logic that underpins any of this. There's no consistency. If 2 people commit the same crime, their punishment is dictated by a whole host of factors, which is so far from what justice should be. They want an equal and fair society, yet they'll burn someone at the stake for being white or for being male. It makes no sense. And the funniest part about this is mainly coming from white people. I've had Indian people message me today and they're saying, I find this ridiculous. And they're the person of color. They should be the ones who are offended on Sam Kerr's behalf. But no, because they have a brain. It's these white overprivileged university flops who relish in the downfall of the white man. No matter what you do, no matter who you hurt, if you're anything other than white, if you're anything other than straight, and if you're anything other than cisgender, you get a free pass. Pass go, collect $200. It's an absolute joke.